Well.
Hold on. Yes.
What?
No.
I was going to now step into the introduction.
Okay, but yes.
Okay. Unless, is there something you'd like to say?
Yeah, I want to shamelessly plug everything I love right now that I have with me.
Okay, perfect. So we'll do that for a second, and I will invoice them later for all of the things.
Sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take a ride, we can take it slow, yeah.
Welcome back to the Road to Self-Love. It's your boy Paul Fishman, self-love coach and You Do You activist, making a wrong turn, really excited about it. And I am here with my good friend Coco from @Coco Bakes. She makes the most amazing gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free, which is vegan, sourdough, soy-free sourdough bread. And she's also just like a truth seeker, which I think is a beautiful, beautiful way to describe her as an individual. We're gonna have a beautiful conversation. I'm so excited for you to be here, Coco. So first, before we jump into it, I just wanna make sure that you get the opportunity to say a little bit more about yourself than that introduction that I gave you.
You want me to do that now?
You do that whenever you want. And you know what? I have to share with you that I wrote you a little thank you note pre this to be like, thank you for being on the show. Here's 3 things I'm grateful about you. And one of them was your laugh. And I didn't even know that you snorted when you laughed. And that makes me love it even more.
Really, when you said 3 things, I thought you were going to gift me 3 things.
Oh.
But then you ended up gifting me 3 things, which was your gratitude. And
Yeah.
it was that was really nice. Thank you.
Ah.
I am grateful for you as well. And I will come up with 3 things I am grateful for you in return.
Okay, perfect. So, yes, please introduce yourself now.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Go.
Hi, my name is Coco, and I hate this, and I own a company called Coco Bakes. I'm coming up on my 6-year anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, let me just say that I was sort of a procrastinator in high school. I would just sort of do the bare minimum and get away with stuff. Mm-hmm. And so when I started Coco Bakes, I was like, I'm just gonna start this company and see what I can do and do it until I find out what I really want to do with my life.
And here you are. You found out what you want to do with your life.
OMG. So Coco Bakes is truly just part of it because I feel like that was the birth and it gave me a platform to really figure out what I want to do. And as you said, there's a truth seeker component to me, and and that really, I feel like, is shining through more and more all the time inside of me. Mm-hmm. And I hate going on about myself. And to interrupt this, I just want to talk about Teonic right now because they are amazing. And
Wait a second. Are you going to give your Teonic code on my show?
You know what? They've been around.
Yeah.
I did not discover them. But when I discovered them for my very own self at Expo West, I fell in love because there are so many great herbs in here that are good for so many different things. Uh-huh. So when you're drinking I Love My Adrenals, it's also helping gut and brain, skin, hair. You never quite know what you're gonna get unless you look it up and then you know what you're gonna get and what everything's good for. But it crosses so many different parts of your body. So it's also just delicious. So I'm supporting my adrenals right now with this Teonic. I Love My Adrenals, which I do. And I have I need some help in that area, so I seek out this flavor, but it's also delicious because I think the hibiscus, they nailed it. So code Coco Coco 30 for 30% off, and I promise you, I don't get paid for this. You literally already went this way.
I know, this is what we do. I find a way that works and then we continue driving around it.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going down, okay.
I thought we were
Okay.
too, but for some reason we turned this way and then I realized that we're
This
not
is
meant to
awesome.
be on the PCH.
Look at you.
You know? Yeah.
Okay.
So, Tionic, love you the most. This is not why we're here, though. Like, I love that you feel passionate to share. And, you know, you're just lucky I don't have a Tionic code as well. Because I would be like, no, actually use Road to Love for 30% off, okay? But you
For
can't.
31%
For
off.
31% off. So, Coco, when you got into the car before we started chatting, recording, you were talking about this double life that you're leading. And, you know, and I want to have a conversation about this double life in the sense of, so first of all, like, just to give a little background about Coco, because she's expressed that she doesn't like to give her own background.
I can background this.
Okay,
I
background
think.
this.
So 6 years ago, I started my company, and during that time, I was burnt out, completely burnt out. I think it was last year in May, I actually finally decided, gave into the universe. I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is exhausting. It's depleted everything out of me. I am angry. I am tired. I am like anxious all the time. I'm not even like, I'm making just enough to keep going, but I'm doing it all myself. So these 12 to 14 hour days that aren't, you know, rewarding in multiple ways than just providing something really delicious and healthy to people who are looking for that wasn't enough after 5 years. So I decided with my boyfriend to move up to get out of LA, which I really needed to do. I was born and raised here, and I started to hate the city. I started to hate all the changes, all the people, the traffic, all the smog, just every single thing heightened emotionally inside of me, outside, anything that I couldn't really control, or anything I really could control just started to bother me to the point of no return. So my boyfriend and I decided to move, and we moved. We made the decision, and we started looking around and flying up and looking at places, and we ended up living with his parents. We've been living with his parents for about 8 months. But before I left, I think I did this in May, or no, in April. I had been working on this sourdough recipe for 3 years. I started making it for an ex-boyfriend. I started making it for myself. Then I started making it for an ex-boyfriend. And then I was making it for Beau. And I sent a loaf to my friend Holly. And she is the reason we're all here. We're all eating my sourdough today. I sent a loaf to her, and she's like, this is amazing. And she posted it, and I started getting orders. In the meantime, I was like a month away, maybe 20 days away from closing down shop, giving into the I can't do this anymore, and stopping and moving. We had already made plans to move, so I, at that point, was pushed. I saw, like, I had a wait list that was 100 people long. And so I saw this need, and I saw like the value in continuing to do this. So I saw somebody and decided to partner with them so that I could leave and they could keep making it for me. And so I moved. Lo and behold, I had to come back. And so now I go back and forth. There's tons of kitchen turnarounds. There are tons of things that happen. So I've run through 2 lead bakers now. So every time we sort of feel stable in what's going on down here, there's a shift. And each time it's brought an amazing consequence or result.
Ooh, talk about that.
Which I think in most times, whether you can see it in the moment or not, every shift or every change that is almost like forced upon you and is out of your control is for a better purpose. It could take you a month to see it, 2 days to see it, a year to see it, and it doesn't always feel fair, doesn't always feel good, but being out of your comfort zone, being out of what's comfortable, what you know, what is routine can also, that challenge can really help you grow. So here I am growing, and so is my mileage because I fly back and forth every 2 to 3 weeks for a week.
How does that, like, do you feel that is where it's going to be forever? Like, do you feel like that's what you have to do to make this work? And knowing that wasn't the reason for leaving was because you wanted to leave. Like, what do you think the lesson here is that you're meant to learn? You know, like I've just been talking a lot about lessons in my life and the lessons that keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then like smacking me in my face with a 2x4. So like, what do you think that lesson is right now?
Perseverance pays off.
Mm-hmm.
And giving into it, whatever you believe in, whatever your thing is. For me, it's the universe. I gave into and I let go of this part that was sucking me dry. And it opened up this opportunity for something else to flourish.
Mm-hmm. Because before you were doing all of these other baked goods, like I came in contact with you when you were just doing sourdough bread, like you were done with all the other stuff, and I think that's a cute little story about how we met. But like I was trying to like put together the timeline of when this all happened. So this happened very recently that you just embarked on just sourdough bread.
Mm-hmm. It was actually within a week-ish when I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm moving. This is the end of this road, and I'm finally okay with it.
And what were you going to do? Were you just going to be like a lady of leisure?
I really didn't know, and I spoke to Bo about it, and I sort of said, hey, look, I really need to take like 3 to 6 months off. I need to recharge. I need to figure out what I want to do. I had zero idea. I've always wanted to go back to school. What I'd do, I don't know. Something in maybe the food justice space, and that's what I was thinking.
Food justice.
I don't really know what that means. Let me think. Food justice would be like figuring out, because going at a government level to get things changed is so challenging.
Yeah.
That I feel like the best way to elicit change, is illicit or incite?
I think it's illicit.
Okay, so I'm going elicit change is to do it at like whatever level you can. So that Jamie Oliver had this great food program at one of the local schools in Los Angeles, and I felt like if I could go to, and I would love to do this in my neighborhood, but it doesn't really matter because I felt like someone would benefit from it, or was hoping someone would benefit from it. But if I could go to a local school district where I was living and try and get them to change their school program, their lunch program, then I could do something positive. And it's not me going up against legislators, me not going up against lobbyists, trying and failing. This is me like very ground level, being able to do something.
Yeah.
So that would be like where I would go with my quote-unquote food justice.
Well, now you're kind of doing food justice via social media. So isn't it interesting how the concept and the idea of what you wanted has transformed into like you're doing what you wanted, just on like a different way. So did you immediately connect that, or when did you realize that like, oh wow, I actually am making my dreams come true just in a different way?
About a minute before you just said it.
Oh, cool.
As it was coming out of my mouth, I was like, oh wait, I sort of do have a platform at the moment, which I truly feel like I am honored to have. It's something that I didn't get to whatever my number is to give me this small platform by myself. People had to sign up, had to get on board, had to like what I was doing. So I do feel like even though I was doing something, I owe it to my followers to, because it's really them who got me this platform.
Yeah. So let's talk about your platform a little bit, specifically around Instagram and what you really have been doing as of late. My friend, I feel she coined the term getting Coco baked, and and I'm really into this concept of getting Coco baked, and I think that what it basically means is you are doing your food justice thing and calling people out on the nonsense, and something that you were talking about yesterday was food fear. And I actually have been coming to terms with a lot of food fear that I prescribe to around, just me thinking that I'm going to be a better, healthier person if I am scared I'm not scared of it, but just like if I eliminate things like the words natural flavors and
I
all.
think scared is almost the right word there.
Yeah?
Intimidated by or...
But it's like a not knowing. I don't know what it is. So why would I want to put something in my body that I didn't know what it was,
Right, but you've also been told by somebody what it is.
Right.
And that's their taking of what it is. So they had to do some sort of research, and I don't know how to avoid saying this, but in some cases there are people that live and exist in their reality, okay? And they will take information in and augment it to fit their reality. And I think that that's what's happening. I don't know if I'd say a lot on Instagram right now, but I do believe it is happening, and I do believe it to be scary and frustrating. And when people with a really big platform are exhibiting or living their life out on this platform, and they themselves are using it as therapy because they're unhealthy or they're not well or whatever it is, and I'm not gonna...
Yeah, we don't have to. But
I think that it's challenging for people then to suss out this information and say, well, wait, is this right? Is this not right? So what I suggest that people do is, if you hear something that you are then curious about, look it up. Do your own research.
Right.
There's no better way to face a fear of the unknown or an unknown with information.
I love that. Restart. Well, I love that you started singing, because I have been dreaming of playing this road trip game with someone, and I think that someone is going to be you, because I've tried to play it twice and it's dismally failed, and I'm setting us up for so much success now. So we're going to play we have a couple of options here. It's called the jukebox game, and basically like you start singing a song, and then with the last word that you finish on, I have to start singing a completely different song.
Oh,
but
I'm into it.
You're into it? Okay,
yeah.
Great, because I'm so excited. So I'm just gonna let you start.
Okay, and I would do anything for love.
Love, love me do. I always love you.
No, wait.
You.
You're the sunshine of my life.
It's my life.
Oh, so it doesn't have to start with...
I know, I mean...
No, that was...
Okay. I was really just trying to run with it.
Okay. I shouldn't have questioned you. Let's keep going.
But then I hit the same word as you, and because I don't know the rest of the words. Okay. I'll just start with a completely different song. Okay. Thank you. Next. Thank you. Next. I'm so fucking grateful for my Coco Bakes.
Literally not set up for success, except we have a theme song. So
yeah, that's it.
Coco Bakes, gonna get your... We don't have a theme song.
Coco Bakes, gonna get your sourdough fix. It's gluten-free, it's soy-free too. If you're vegan, we don't use any animals. to make this bread. Yeah. I'm available for jingles as well.
I was trying to think of a song. It didn't.
Amazing. You know what? That's
No,
the-
wait. I really feel like I could have excelled at that.
Okay.
But I just didn't.
Should we play? Do you want to play again?
I don't think anyone wants to watch us play it again.
Okay, or listen. I get it. So let's just hop into this concept of food fear a little bit more. I want you to explain what food fear is to anyone who hasn't heard that, because you explained it beautifully last night on Instagram story. So.
Food. Well, let me go back and read my story. Food fear. I think that food fear is the creation, or is like it's fear around food. So it could come from somebody saying that an ingredient is bad. It could come from sort of like, I don't know. Can we like
Editor, please.
Editor, please.
Caitlin, love you the most. Thank you for
Caitlin,
being here and doing this for us.
Most loved. Food fear is literally exactly what it sounds like. It is the fear of food, an ingredient, and it can lead to a lot of things. For a lot of people, what I've heard, the feedback that I've gotten is that it's really triggering. People can be super dramatic about it. It can be, an ingredient can be demonized without somebody really knowing a lot about it. And I don't know everything. I 100% don't know everything, and I am super transparent. I know what I know, but there's a lot I don't know. So I faced food fear when I was on an elimination diet for years and would just keep taking stuff out or trying a new diet fad. Partly was because I was having issues, but another part of it became like, well, I can eat a little bit of that. Like, this is ridiculous. I don't need to completely avoid this. It's not going to kill me if I have some of X, Y, and Z. And so it first happened for me when, like, and this is controversial, but the medical medium came out with the fruit fear thing. And I started drinking smoothies, and I was like, oh my God, wait, there are so many micronutrients in fruit that, like, my body was wanting. I was having insane sugar cravings. I was like a sugar addict, full addict. Coconut sugar, maple syrup, cane sugar, it didn't matter. I wanted it all, and once I started eating it, I couldn't stop. So then I started drinking a smoothie. Gone. For me, personally, that's my personal experience. And so it came in this form of like, oh wait, why was I scared of this?
Yeah. What's the why? I think that it comes back to that a lot with everything, whether it's you, as you said, living this double life. Like, what's the why behind the double life? What's the why behind our food fear? What's the why behind your why? Like, and I've personally, because I've been gluten-free since I was like 10, dairy-free since not really. My parents, there's conspiracy around why I stopped eating gluten, dairy, and sugar at such a young age. I have created the conspiracy in my head that because I was a very short and round little boy, that my parents were trying to figure out a way to work the situation to help me lose weight. And I have this like funny story where I'm like, yeah, my parents paid off a doctor to tell me that I was gluten-free way before it was like, so I would stop eating donuts and bread and stuff. But I know that there's more to it than that. They didn't pay off a doctor. Please, child services, do not come for my parents.
Wait, there was more to it, or that was not part of it, and there was a whole other story?
No, that wasn't part of it at all.
Okay.
My mom is really into holistics, and I had a really bad upper respiratory infection as a child. Like, I was always coughing. I was always just like I was really lethargic and not feeling good. And then one day this woman was like, well, have you thought about taking him off of gluten? And at that time it was when, that brown rice bread that's like the only gluten-free bread that was around. It's still like sold to this day. That was the only bread that I could eat. And it was just so horrible. But like I think that intolerances and like this whole like craze of just like elimination has gotten out of hand. And why I say that is because when I eat something that has gluten in it and I'm unaware of gluten, that there is gluten in it, it doesn't affect me.
Psychosomatic.
Yeah, so I think that, I mean, this is just like a very like generalized statement, and I'm not discrediting anything that anyone is experiencing right now, but in my own personal life, I've experienced that a lot of the things that I do with myself in my head are just, like you said, psychosomatic. So, what's your experience with that?
What is my experience with that? I think that I've taken a lot of time to like retrain my brain. Specifically with like, okay, starting to eat fruit, and then it was like, wait, what? It's perfectly fine. But I had a girlfriend in college who, this is the closest my experience gets with
Perfect.
that. She has celiac disease, and super, super severe. We went to a restaurant once and there was something in her food and she was sick as a dog, just could not move, cramping everything. And then a couple years later we were out to dinner and she was eating naan or something, and I was like, wait, what? What's going on here? And she was like, I think it's psychosomatic. I think if I eat it and I'm like thinking that I can eat it, then it's okay. And when I'm nervous or when my body doesn't want it, then it's not okay, and then like I get sick. And I suppose that my closest experience with that is that I normally can't eat dairy because I get basically like a sinus infection if I overload, or even if I eat too much, I wake up super lethargic and I'm really puffy, and I can notice that. But 2 weeks ago, I was craving cheese like a mother, and I went out and I got some mozzarella and I ate it, and I woke up the next day and I was fine, and I was still craving it, so I ate some mac and cheese and I was fine. But then it was in front of me and I ate it, and the next day I was sort of like, ugh. So I think if you really like are in tune or can get in tune with yourself, and something I said yesterday was that we all just need to block out. I think that there's good information out there, and I think that you can take what people are giving you and do your own research with it. But if you're not going to do that, you should block out the noise, tune everything out, and turn inward on yourself and figure out what's going on inside.
So, how do you do that? Like, is there like something that, like maybe 1, 2, 3, like easy things that someone who's never heard this concept of like tuning in when it comes to what's serving your body?
I think it takes a lot of time. Specifically, I think it takes a lot of time, and it took me a long time to get there. I think you can speed up the process? Got no idea. But the way that you can retrain your brain, and I message with a lot of people on Instagram about this sort of stuff, is like, try something you think you can't have that upsets you. Just try it. Try it, and when you're trying it, try to be as neutral as possible. Not, oh, this is going to make me sick, let me eat it. And see what happens. It's like, I feel like that's the only way to know what's going on. I've done allergy tests, and the only things that, and there are things that don't turn up that I know when I eat it, I get sick. So it's like, this test could tell me something. There's the Good Milk truck. Shout out to Good Milk, who makes the best almond milk, and they now ship online. Look, do you see it?
I see it.
Oh my gosh.
It's so cute.
Oh, it's so cute.
Taste the difference.
I love you, Brooke. You're doing an incredible job. You're saving the planet. Thank you.
So proud of you.
So proud of you. So I think that there's a way to try and figure out, really be neutral when you're testing things.
Yeah. Well, I like that step. I think that as long as you're conscious of, and like you know that it's not like a severe allergy, like that it's important to trust. And there's something interesting that I've been experiencing lately, and I actually talk about this in my Feel Your Food program, which is all about noticing the things that our mind does around the food we put into our body. It's just like before, like noticing what's going on in my body as I reach for something in my fridge. Noticing what's going on in my body when I'm actually touching it. Like,
Yes.
And here's something, I've been ignoring it for the longest time, but Richard and I buy these like little baby cocktail cucumbers from Costco that like, they're just like so fun for like dipping in dips and noshing on. And like every time I reach for it, my body goes, oh, like it gets like tight, but I just ignore it. And I just like really just don't want to give up these little crunchy, delicious cucumbers. But I've also, heard that cucumbers aren't the best, like with the lectins or whatever. But we don't even talk about lectins.
Lectins.
Yeah, lectins are an interesting thing.
Dr. Gundry.
I'm going to, maybe Dr. Gundry. Dr. Gundry, you want to join me on the show? Because I'm not even going to try and talk about it.
Baby, you can drive my car. Baby, I love you.
I love you.
Lectins, hey.
Hey.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, please.
Two things. I've had the same exact experience. Sometimes when I either take something in my hand, Bo passed me something the other day, I took it in my hand, in my gut, I could feel it in my intestine, sort of like just had this weird feeling that I've felt before, and then I ate it, and I was sort of, where it didn't like kill me or bother me that much, it was sort of like my body was like, maybe not. Second of all, you don't have to give up the cucumbers.
Right.
Every once in a while, have your fun little cocktail cucumber and dip it. Dip it. You listen, self-love is uncensored. You can use all of the words here in the car. Oh, great. Wow. Don't invite that.
Speaking of all the other words, I think that now's the perfect time to play the very classic game of Fuck, Marry, Kill with inanimate objects. Yes, so we're not doing human beings, we're doing inanimate objects because, we're not here for a PR nightmare.
I like a PR nightmare.
I know you love a PR nightmare. So here's the question. Fuck, marry, kill.
So if you are fucking this thing, are you physically inserting it inside of you?
You have been the first person to ask me that. And
how am I the first? Wait, what do people?
I think it's just like the act of just like, like making like sweet, passionate like love. Like it's not like I'm gonna say.
Yes, Roxanne's cookie dough cake for sure. Meet the source.
Okay, but I get to decide.
Oh,
the
right.
categories.
Okay. Yeah. No, let's go.
Okay. You're just like, yes. This is you keep on trying to like make the rules your own, which I think that's why you're so successful as a business person.
Also, why I could never work for anybody else.
So we're gonna do the sourdough starter, okay? Whoa, sir. The sourdough starter, your adrenal tonic, and what else do I want to do? And Miyoko's butter.
I would marry the adrenal tea because it would keep me going forever. I would not insert, but love my... You know what? Miyoko's butter, because I can always make another sourdough starter.
Oh, come on.
And I have killed my sourdough starter before, and I've made new ones.
Look at you. Kind of making your own rules again.
Nailed it.
Well, beautiful. Thank you.
Sweaty?
Remember, you're wearing a microphone.
Yeah. No, I don't care.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you so much for rewriting those rules as well. That means so much to me. So I'm curious, what's next for Coco?
Oh, what's next for me? So part of the double life is like, I live a double life physically because I travel so much, but I also live a double life in terms of like my Instagram, because I am very proactive on the Instagram, and I am also selling my company on my Instagram. I've like slowly tried to separate the two, but
I saw that.
Not working.
You don't have to do that.
So I think that what's next? So I think that like Coco is so wrapped up in Coco Bakes. that I don't know that I'll ever be able to, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it, but I don't know the chance of separating them. So the next thing for Coco and Coco Bakes, my poor literary agent has been waiting for me to write a proposal for 3 years. Lee, I'm sorry. I still exist. I'm still going to try and do it. You can turn left and go around if you want. It's beautiful down here. I'm still going to try and write my book. I didn't have direction before of what I thought it was going to be. Like, we had approached the idea with writing a cookbook, which to me could not be more boring. And I don't mean that in a mean way, because they're beautiful, well thought out, incredible cookbooks out there. But for me, right now at this stage in my life, I'm sort of like, just boring. I feel like I have, and I don't want to offend anybody, I feel like I have something different to offer than just that. So I have an idea, and I'm trying to flush out the idea right now and start writing about it. So I think a book is probably in the works in a couple years. I just get so bogged down and swamped with everything I have to do that it takes me a while to get things started. So a cookbook, or a book. And then I would also like to do a podcast, which I know is so popular right now, but I said frickin' a year ago that I was going to do it. And I want to, I don't know, I feel like I'm in not a mean way. I feel like everyone's being interviewed over and over and over again. And I want something new. And I want something fresh. People I haven't heard before, stories I haven't heard before. So I'm like looking to a lot of my friends who are doing really interesting things. My brother's doing, incredible things. I'm not going to elaborate on any of these right now. You'll just have to listen if I ever do it. And so I just want I want new.
Yeah. Yeah, and your friend Paul is doing incredible things in the podcast space.
Oh, well, you're seriously doing an incredible thing in the podcast space. So I'm very, very excited. I truly, you know what? I truly am. Don't dim my light about you.
Listen, I'm not dimming your light about me at all. And I'm not dimming my light about me either, because I've got a bright light. No, for sure.
You're fluorescent as fuck.
Fluorescent.
Hot
I'm
pink
natural light.
No, but like.
Oh yeah, if I were a light, I'd be like a neon hot pink fluorescent unicorn light.
Yeah, like a gradient, like beautifully multicolored, but like maybe even pastels.
I'm all about a pastel moment.
No, you live in a pastel moment,
I do.
Which is beautiful.
I do believe so, as that is true. So you've got lots coming up for yourself, which I think I think it's exciting to have all of these things to look forward to. What I've been trying to do my best at is, like, although I have always something new and exciting, new email, new brand partnership, new person to interview, new reason to travel, like, I really like the ability to be present in where I am right here and now. We're heading down Private Street. Gotta keep out, it says, but we're gonna.
This is my neighborhood.
This is your neighborhood.
I used to go trick-or-treating here on Halloween.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. So I think that's really interesting. How are you possibly able to stay present when you have all these things going on, and when you have to be on social media? Not have to be, but when you are on social media, like, I have a really hard time because my brain goes a mile a minute or 100 miles a minute. Thanks, Mom, for that, Jean. I have a really hard time, like, when I'm with Beau, being with Beau. When I'm on the phone, if I'm on the phone with somebody and I am not, and I have something in front of me, whether it be my phone, whether it be a notepad, whether it be my computer, anything, there's no way I'm paying attention to that. The phone call. The second I pick something up, the person on the other line knows that I've checked out. So how do you stay present?
Well, I think that, just like you said, around the feelings in your body and noticing the food, I think it's just like making the commitment that that's something that you actually want. Like, is it truly something that you want? Like, do you want to commit to being present, to where your feet are connected right here now. Because for a lot of people, that's not what they want. Because if we're being present, then we have to not only be present with the good, but we also have to be present with the bad, the ugly. And it's a lot more fun for me to sit here and get excited about, that I'm interviewing Sahara Rose on Sunday than actually, be here, like it's a lot. So, because now I have to navigate around the conversation that you and I are having, and I'm like, how can I get this back? Like, how can I reel this back in? What am I doing right here and now that is going to generate, content that is valuable for people? So it's
literally, this conversation will not be.
What? Yes, it will. You know why it will be valuable is because it humanizes you in a different way than your stories, because we're having a conversation, and just as much as you do have conversations like
with myself on there,
which I love the most, like I think that hearing you be like calling yourself out for these things that you're doing, it makes me feel at ease knowing that, like, because I look to you as like a very successful, like, has their shit together business person who's able to run a business and not live in the same place as the business, and especially because it's a brick and mortar, like, physical business. So I think that is something that so many people look to you and they're just like, wow, she's doing it, and look, she's doing it, and she just bought a home in her dream space, and she found like the love of her life, and am I going to make it through here, So it's just like by humanizing you and giving you the space to just have a conversation in a car, I think that's really cool. Okay. After I've reframed that, like, does it make you feel a little bit better about the idea that this is going to bring stuff for people?
I guess it does. I think that I don't give myself enough credit for doing all these things, because I am so in it. I am so in it, and then I am so far away at the same time. Like, thinking about what do we do next? What's the next move? And I always feel like I'm not doing enough. And that's one of the problems that I've really run into being outside of Los Angeles is I grew up here, and everything is very fast-paced, and if I am in Tacoma and I don't have a day where I'm on the go constantly on my computer or on my phone or on phone calls or meeting with X, Y, and Z or thinking about what's next, I don't see it as a successful day because I've been planted in this I need to feel super stressed out by the end of my day.
Yeah.
So when you say all those things, like, that's right, I did buy a house with the love of my life, and I did tear out the kitchen, and I did do all these things, and I do run a company, and it is, what the definition of successful is, I think, is different to everybody. So, yeah, I mean, I've been around for 6 years on Monday, and that's pretty incredible, because most businesses don't really last past the first year. When I got past the first year, I felt super accomplished, but now it's sort of like go, 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 and there's so much more I want to do, and because I'm not doing the more right now, I sometimes see it as, well, what am I doing?
Yeah, I get it.
So I do hope this is helpful for some of you, any of you.
I know that it will be.
Oh,
and
great.
I appreciate you for being so vulnerable with us. So,
shout out to Elemental too, because I love them. Literally, the only thing I ever want to do now that I have somewhat of a platform, the only thing I ever want to do is support other businesses.
yeah.
It's just, that's true. So that's another thing that truly makes me happy. And when I was thinking that maybe I wouldn't end up doing Coco Bakes and we'd move, I wanted to consult for small businesses. That was something I felt super passionate about, and I get to kind of do it in a very small, limited capacity right now. But that's really what's making me happy.
Yeah, well, I think that you are doing that. So, and I think that the cool thing about, once again, your platform is that like people look to you, and it's just very, very important to notice that you are doing a lot. And just because you don't have a big project or this and that to look forward to doesn't mean that your product sells out every week.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge. And secret, if you get on the subscription, that you don't have to worry about the stress. So you're trying
You
to
also get it for cheaper.
You also get it for cheaper, and I've been on the subscription, and this is funny.
Yeah.
I've been on the subscription for a few months now, and I would never turn back. So I'm going to leave all of the information on how to get Coco's amazing sourdough bread in the description. But Coco, I have just a couple more questions for you. What does self-love mean to you?
I was having a conversation with a girlfriend, Amrit Satana. I just butchered your name. Sorry, love. I do it all the time, so I'm just going to go Amrit. And we were talking about self-love and like the vision. Oh, and when I moved to Tacoma, I was like, I'm gonna have so much time to take baths and bubble baths and go work out and do all these things. Nothing changed. And I think that there's this perception in the influencer community that self-love or self-care has to be expensive. And it doesn't. It could be doing something that, it could be reading a book, it could be taking a walk, writing something down. If you like writing, write something. If you like paint or art, do something that's going to make you happy. If you like cooking, if you like eating donuts, go eat a damn donut. Self-love can be whatever makes you feel good to me.
I love that. It's a beautiful, beautiful definition. And I think that it's important to know, like, highlight what you said, that self-love can be whatever you want it to be, whatever you need it to be. And I just want to add a little caveat, as long as it is done with love for yourself. So, and I think that that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing your definition of self-love. Final question, where can everyone find you?
Well, I live between here and... No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know where to find myself. You can find me on Instagram at Coco Bakes. You can find my bread online, www. Somebody said www the other day, and somebody criticized him for saying www. Where else would you be on the internet? CocoBakesLA.com. I think that's the website.
Yeah, it is the website.
Those two places, and I'm very, very, very present.
Yes, you
On
are
social
very
media.
on social media. Yes, and Coco, thank you so much for joining me on the Road to Self-Love today. I had so much fun. You guys, if you enjoyed this, if you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, share, take a screenshot, share it to your Instagram. Make sure to tag me at Paul Fishman at The Self-Love Show, and of course, our girl at Coco Bakes. And if you're listening on iTunes or wherever you like to listen to podcasts, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a rate and review, do all the things. This has just been so magical, Coco.
Two last things.
Oh, yes.
I'm not even kidding you. I have to shout out to my girl Alexandra for making this hair look so gorgeous, and Electric and Rose for always outfitting me. I love you both so much.
And we will leave all of their information in the show notes. If Coco has any codes for you, I will happily give them to you as well, because her success is my success, is our success as the world. So Coco, thank you so much for being here.
It was magical. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.